Ever since the inception of the very first Jurassic Park story, Michael Crichton has entertained the idea of dinosaurs escaping from their island prisons and venturing out into the human populations of the mainland. In fact, it is in the very early chapters of the original novel wherein we first get news that dinosaurs exist, and it isn't on Isla Nublar. During the course of both of the author's books, as well as the second, third, and fifth entries in the film series, the idea of dinosaurs getting off of the islands has been an important part of Jurassic Park lore. It has, however, very rarely been talked about in the general public for some reason. Despite the fact that Crichton's JP novel both starts and ends with dinosaurs escaping into the wilds of Costa Rica, most audiences seem to only envision this media franchise as dinosaurs on an island, and nothing more and nothing less. Well, I can assure you that this is most definitely not the entirety of what Jurassic Park is all about. And in fact, for me personally, some of the greatest parts of both novels involve the wild realization that these animals could potentially get off of Isla Nublar and go undetected into the deepest, darkest parts of modern jungles. One of my favorite moments from the first book involves some of Jurassic Park's most iconic characters taking part of John Hammond's car tour and discovering something truly chaotic. In a moment, the cars jolted to a stop. "What's happened?" Grant said. Up ahead, they saw the kids in the car pointing toward the ocean. Offshore, beneath lowering clouds, Grant saw the dark outline of the supply boat making its way back to Punta Arenas. "Why have we stopped?" Malcolm said. Grant turned on the radio and heard the girl saying excitedly, "Look there, Timmy, you see it, it's there." Malcolm squinted at the boat. "They talking about the boat?" "Apparently," Grant replied. Ed Regis came out of the front car and came running back to their window. "I'm sorry," he said, "but the kids are all worked up. Do you have binoculars here?" "For what?" Malcolm asked. "The little girl says she sees something on the boat, some kind of animal," Regis replied. Grant grabbed the binoculars and rested his elbows on the window ledge of the land cruiser. He scanned the long shape of the supply ship. It was so dark it was almost a silhouette. As he watched, the ship's running lights came on, brilliant in the dark purple twilight. "Do you see anything?" Regis asked. "No," Grant said. "They're low down," Lex said over the radio. "Look low down." Grant tilted the binoculars down, scanning the hull just above the waterline. But it was quite dark now, and he could barely make out details. "No, nothing." "I can see them," Lex said impatiently. "Near the back. Look near the back." "How can she see anything in this light?" Malcolm asked. "Kids can see," Grant said. "They've got visual acuity we forgot we ever had." He swung the binoculars toward the stern, moving them slowly, and suddenly, he saw the animals. They were playing, darting among the silhouetted stern structures. He could see them only briefly, but even in the fading light, he could tell that they were upright animals, about 2 feet tall, standing, with stiff, balancing tails. "You see them now?" Lex asked. "I see them," he said. "What are they?" "They're raptors," Grant replied. "At least 2. Maybe more. Juveniles." "That boat's headed to the mainland," Regis said. Malcolm shrugged. "Don't get excited. Just call the control room and tell them to recall the boat." Ed Regis reached in and grabbed the radio from the dashboard. They heard hissing static and clicks as he rapidly changed channels. "There's something wrong with this one," he said. "It's not working." He ran off to the first land cruiser. They saw him duck into it. Then he looked back at them. "There's something wrong with both radios," he said. "I can't raise the control room." "Then let's get going," Grant replied. Along the side of the road, clouds of volcanic steam misted rainbows in the bright quartz lights. Grant said into the radio, "How long does it take the ship to reach the mainland?" 18 hours, Regis replied. "More or less. It's pretty reliable." He glanced at his watch. "It should arrive around 11 tomorrow morning." Grant frowned. "You still can't talk to the control room?" "Not so far." "How about Harding? Can you reach him?" "No," Regis replied. "I've tried. He may have his radio turned off." Malcolm was shaking his head. "So we're the only ones who know about the animals on the ship?" "I'm trying to raise somebody," Regis replied. "I mean, we don't want these animals on the mainland." "Well, how long until we get back to the base?" "From here, another 16, 17 minutes, Ed Regis said. At night, the whole road was illuminated by big floodlights. It felt to Grant as if they were driving through a bright green tunnel of leaves. Large raindrops spattered the windshield, and Grant felt the land cruiser slow, then stop. Now what? Lex said that she didn't want to stop, and she asked why they'd stopped. And then, suddenly all the floodlights went out. The road was plunged into darkness. "Probably just a power outage or something," Regis said. "I'm sure the lights will be on any minute now." The rest of Crichton's Jurassic Park plays out relatively similar to the film adaptation. However, there is an entire subplot involving a massive nest of Velociraptors living outside of Hammond's electrified fences. In fact, these juvenile raptors that managed to get on the supply ship are actually only a small part of the many migrating raptors that have organized themselves to flock out onto the beach and wait for the ships to come back to the island. This is how the raptors planned on, and some of them even succeeded, in getting off of the island. Now, of course, other dinosaurs are known to have escaped as well, with the Compy attacks in Costa Rica being a real threat that the government even took notice of. The bottom line is that Jurassic Park was always going to be a failure. Dennis Nedry may have sped up the process by quite a bit, but rest assured, dinosaurs were going to find ways of getting off of the islands, whether he cut the power or not. In fact, if you go by the original book, they already had gotten off of the island way before that. Now, this is, in my opinion, one of the most important parts of the first novel, but I'd love to hear what all of you have to say about it as well. Is this a memorable part of Crichton's book for you, and what do you think of its relevance to the story overall? I'm interested in hearing what each and every one of you have to say in the comments down below. Now, before I go, I want to thank all of my game wardens, as well as all of my InGen executives. I'd also like to thank all of my park workers and InGen hunters as well. It really means the world to me that all of you guys continue to support what I do, and I seriously am extremely thankful that you even watch these videos. Honestly, it means the world to me. Now I'd like to thank each and every one of you for watching the video, and hope that you all enjoyed today's content. If you feel like I deserve it, I would appreciate the like and hope that you'll consider subscribing if you're interested in hearing from me again. I'll see you all in the next video, guys, and as always, take it easy.